Good morning, afternoon, evening, or night, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to How to Make Your Own Bow. Required materials are going to be listed in the description, and most of the process will be in the video. The brands that you choose to make your bow should be straight and springy and cut green. The best types of wood are elm, hazel, and yew. However, most types of wood will work. Your bow does need to bend, so having something that's less than 3/4 of an inch thick is best, and it needs to be a reasonable length. Moving inside. Secure your bow with pieces of wood in order to protect it from the clamp, and now you're ready to begin shaping. There are multiple different ways that you can shape a bow. One of them is sanding, but if you choose to hand sand, it will take a lot of time and effort. You can also whittle to shape your bow, but this will also take a lot of effort and won't always give you a very smooth result. At this point, I was given an opportunity. A major chunk of my bow was able to come off, and I thought that this would save me a lot of time and not having to take that off. But once I did, I realized that it didn't come off very smoothly. So I would have to somehow bring the rest of my bow back in line with that to where it broke off. And it was more of a fiasco than an opportunity. The moral of this story is that you should be in charge of the shape of your bow. If it breaks, don't fall for it. After working for way too long shaping my bow with sanding paper and a hatchet, I discovered the miracle that are wood planes. If you have one of these, don't even consider any other option. This is by far the best. The first step of fletching after you've gathered your materials is to cut your feather so that you have a flat surface on the bottom that you can use to glue against your arrow shaft. Now you're going to have to cut down your arrows to size. This should be based off the shortest arrow that you have. You can cut from either angle that you need to in order to get it, and if you can't get it just with a cut, then you can also just tear it apart once you're close. You need to cut the front and the back at the appropriate angles, and then also cut the top of the arrow off in order to make it flat. Once you have your feathers cut to the shape you want, now it's time to glue them to your arrow shaft. The feathers should each be placed 120 degrees apart from each other in order for the three of them that you'll be putting on to be equally spaced apart from each other. One of them should be a different color to indicate that it is the cock feather, and that will be used when you put your arrow onto your bowstring. In order to hold the entirety of your feather against your arrow, you're going to need some type of contraption to do that. I used a chip clip. Time to shoot. After putting on all of the appropriate safety gear, I went outside and aimed my bow and took the shot. I was extremely happy with my first shot and tried to take another, but my bow snapped, and I was scared after that. I could feel the weakness of my bow at that point, but I wanted to take one last shot. This is how it went. I'm still extremely happy that I managed to make with my own hands a bow that worked, and I got to learn a whole lot about bow making in this process, and I hope that I was able to teach you a lot about it too. If you want to learn how to make colonial tea, You can click on a video to learn that right now.